Come on, say thank you.
Thank you.
She's not alarmed because the snake is not speaking as a snake. He's speaking like an angel of light. So obviously he's been talking. And some now even believe that that was part of not only the stripping of the wings, but the stripping of the vocal cords of the snake, where he can only now make a hiss sound because he has no vocal cord. What God says, because Satan used you as the creature, as beautiful you was, I'm going to change your makeup, strip your wings, strip your vocal cord, and from the dust you shall eat all the days of your life. So he has no wings, he has no vocal, so he can only make a hissing sound. My Lord. Let's get to this right here. In Genesis 25, he said that they were both naked, man and his wife, and they were not ashamed. I covered this extensively last week, so I'm going to skip over it today, just go just a little bit, read through it, and get to the review, because I got to drive something home, and then I'll give you part two. Then in Genesis 3, it says, then the Lord God called to Adam and said to him, where are you? He said, I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked. Now, we just read that they were naked and were not afraid or ashamed. The word afraid, that means ashamed. And from 2:25 to 3:10-11, all of a sudden they've gone from being unashamed to ashamed, because we know sin is setting. I was afraid or ashamed because I was naked and I hid myself. And of course we get the question, who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree which I commanded that you should not eat? And the woman said, the serpent deceived me. She wasn't expecting. She didn't know she was being set up. Now, I don't want to alarm because I like to stay in the positive. I'm covering some negative territory. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I just feel to say this to you. Be careful who you trust.
Amen.
I don't want you to live suspicious and all of that, because I believe that God will protect his people. But still be careful who you trust. You might be getting set up.
Yes, sir.
And you don't know it. Be careful who you trust. Be careful who you invite in your house. Be careful who you invite in your table. And I'm saying this, I know I stay in the positive, but today I got to tell you this because sometimes people will play on your innocence, like here, and your naiveness.
Yes, sir.
And too many of us with good intentions are now in a bad place in life because people played on our weakness. And so we're trying to get over a spirit of hurt, a spirit of anger, a spirit of letdown that's the carryover from people who you trust. That makes sense?
Yes, sir.
She said, the serpent, who was beautiful, he deceived. Here's the word. Three things when she failed, I covered this extensively. Our physical nature was affected, our spiritual being was affected, our psyche was affected, meaning your mental makeup of your mind. And of those three, the mind is the hardest thing. The physical is easier to be healed. The spiritual, you can be born again by accepting Christ as Savior. But the mind has to be constantly renewed and transformed. That's the hardest place. Long after God has forgiven you, some of us still struggle with forgiving ourselves.
Amen.
Dr. King put it this way. As long as the mind is in bondage, the body can never be free. And for many of us, our bondage is not in our body, it's in our mind. We're still a captive and prisoner of what has been done to us. what people have done, and so forth and so on. The word deceive here means to intentionally impose a false idea to gain an advantage, to defraud, to cheat, to mislead. Look at it. To con, to rob, to victimize, to trick, or to manipulate. So what she's saying is, the serpent tricked me. It's not a matter of power, it's a matter of deception. It's strategic. It's a setup. The serpent conned me. The serpent manipulated my understanding about what you're saying, what you say. That word beguile, another word, means to outwit or to outsmart. She said, the serpent outsmarted me. I wasn't thinking that it was going to happen like this. So he outwit, he outsmart, he was crafty, he was subtle, meaning I didn't even see the setup coming. Lord have mercy. This is why I don't give tribute to the power of the Satan. It really ain't about power. It's about deception. He's cunning. He's crafty. He outwits you. He strategizes. He studies what you like, your weaknesses. Sets you up slowly. You don't even see him moving. You don't even see the setup coming because you're not paying attention. Touch your neighbor and say, pay attention. To what's going on around you. Pay attention to what people are saying to you. There's a clue on everything if you learn how to study things. Pay attention.
Yes, sir.
She was pure, she was innocent, but at some point she stopped paying attention. Something is wrong here. Pay attention. So he planted an idea and cheated her out of her purity by deceiving, victimizing, tricking, or manipulating. I said this last week. This goes on every day. When a black man, young man, is killed, shot, or arrested, the first thing even the media does is pull out his record and say, well, you know, he had trouble with the law. See, they are manipulating your perception about this individual. Because the truth of the matter is, it may be on the police record that he's had several complaints filed against him of being overly forceful, but you don't bring that out. So this is how we manipulate people's understanding to say, oh, he was a bad boy anyway. What you don't say is, that may have happened 20 years ago, that he straightened his life out, that he's turned his life around. But they are masters at manipulating your perception. It does, this is every day. And I can give you example after example. This is not out of the ordinary. Here's what we focused on last week, and I'm just going to run through this. What he was doing was assaulting her self-worth, creating in her a spirit of insecurity, because when you're insecure and you struggle with esteem and self-worth, the facts are that you now strive for social acceptability, meaning you're more apt to do things outside of the character because you just want to be included. And now you end up doing stuff that fall out of your character, but out of peer pressure and social acceptability, when your esteem is low, you're more apt to go along with stuff because you want to be accepted. We know that. So if you want to set a person up, the first thing you do is tear them down. Boy, I got to say this one. I'm going to have to tell you this one. So when people don't have nothing good to say about you or your situation, get away from those people, because I'm telling you, you get set up.
Amen.
I know that there's some bad in every situation. There's also some good in every situation. And if a person can only see the bad, you need to get away from that.
Yes, Lord.
Because it's going to affect how you view things and how you view people. A quick case example, and I'm going to bring this up. Just a mere suggestion will cause you to call into question the character of people that have been nothing but impeccable. But the mere suggestion will cause you to see them in a different light. We do this every day. And you never consider. Maybe they have an issue with it, but my understanding about something is being manipulated, and it's going to change how I now see this person or myself or so forth and so on. He assaulted her self-worth, which created a spirit of insecurity. Why? Here's the words. I said this last week, just reading, just for review. This word naked, a room in a rough, actually means spiritual and physical nakedness, meaning poverty, poor, empty, open, uncovered, where we get the word nude, stripped. That's not a bad thing. That means that portrays a certain pureness and innocence. Like Jesus said, blessed are the poor in spirit. That's not talking about poverty like we know it. That's an innocence. That's uncontaminated. That is in the definition. Also at the root word of those same words are other words we get, nephel, para, so forth, which means fallen. It means an abortion, untimely birth, because it's a combination of more than one word. So if you break the words down, you get this one and that one, you pull it together. It also means a miscarriage of God's intentions, to be inferior or blemished or destitute, shame, unclean. Shame is when you don't like something about yourself. So we understand the conversation that the serpent was having with Eve. He was talking to her at the same time he was assaulting her self-worth. By saying that you're a miscarriage of God's intentions, you're inferior. There's something destitute about you. There's something shameful about you that you don't know. And if people work at that, this is why I say get away from people who are constantly negative. Listen to me. Because if you stay around junk long enough, you stop looking beyond that. You start to be contaminated by it. You are a product of your environment. If all you see, this is what Hollywood and everything has mastered. Well, I don't care about even watching movies, because the black man is only a pimp, drug addict, in jail, incarcerated, everything concerning him. Whether he got on sagging pants, baggies, or he got on a suit, he's still a thug, a drug addict. And this is why I appreciate the movie, the Black Panther, so much, among all other things, is that there was an entire movie with no degradation of the female, with the black man being portrayed and woman as kings and queens without having foul language. We can sit down and really watch something that speaks and ministers to us.